All right, so let's get started. So what difficulties did you face after World War II in the internment camps?
Well, first thing, what you got to remember is I was 10 years old. Okay,
Yeah,
and when I got out of camp, I think I was like 13 or 14. So you got to look at it from that standpoint. So when your question was what kind of circumstances or what
what
was
kind
your
of
question?
what difficulties did you face after the internment camps?
After or during?
After.
After when I got out, of course, when I got out, we had moved to Minneapolis, and uh, what the kind of problems, if you want to call it as such, that you ran across would be those again of 13, 14-year-olds, which is different from adults. Okay, you
Yeah.
gotta look. And so I really didn't have any trouble at all until I went to high school. When I started, I think I was in the ninth grade. Yeah, ninth grade, I think it was. Then of course, there was this uh, people, they called me Japs and stuff, but not for long because they found out real quick, like, and I had uh, uh, what do you call it, a coach, not a coach, but well, he was the basketball coach, but when during what do you call it? What do you call that? Gymnasium.
Yeah.
During gymnasium time, he made the comment that I made the comment to him, that I had what I had the privilege of was I had my oldest brother, Uncle Martin, taught. Okay, during the war, he taught the Navy personnel. And what he taught them, I don't know because it's all confidential. My second oldest brother, Uncle Grant was in China, Burma, India, fighting Japan, and then, which is to your advantage, to my advantage. I could say to them, "Well, what are you talking about?" And of course, I had two brother-in-laws. My oldest sister, which would be Auntie Kay, her husband was in Italy fighting the Germans, and Auntie Ruth, her husband, was in Australia fighting Japan. See, so I had all these people behind me, so to speak. And of course, I told you that my oldest brother Martin was an instructor for the Navy. So I had this advantage, or when people try to throw any of that stuff at me, I turn around and say, was your brother in the service, and did he fight combat? I had all this worked up so I can answer them, and pretty soon it was pretty good. I didn't have too much trouble. They understood where I was coming from.
All right. All right. So was life easy after the internment camps in World War II?
Well, you got to remember my age.
So,
so,
yeah, at a
so,
young age, it probably wasn't as bad as being as an adult, I imagine, then.
yeah, as far as being easy, now when we got out of camp, our parents, my dad and mom, they couldn't get jobs, but my mother, grandma, was able to get a job as a seamstress through a friend. So she had a job, and so she was able to feed us. And my dad couldn't get a job. In fact, he had a sure thing job over in the University of Minnesota, and he went for the interview, and he came back, and I figured he was going to get the job because it was highly recommended. And I said, well, did you get the job? And he says, no. I laugh about it now, but what had happened is they asked him, how do you feel about the war effect on you? And of course, that hit him wrong because here he had kids in the service fighting for our country, and our country took away his farm. He had two houses because he had 8 kids, so
Mm-hmm.
he had 2 houses. They took that away. He had his farm. He took his farm away, and packed him up and put him into concentration camps. That's what they were, but they put him into camps. And he said that to these interview. On this interview, he got upset. He said, I didn't get the job. But, well, he had to express his feelings. When they asked him, how do you feel about it? He says, it just came out. But anyway, maybe I went off the subject a little bit there. But
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine. So, how is life at home because of these things that happened?
well, it was again, we lived in an upper duplex, and the duplex was not the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's I think it had 2 bedrooms, but there was 6 of us all together living in it, and it was upstairs, and it just wasn't ideal. But we put up with it. It was kind of embarrassing to some extent because I had a friend, Dwayne Grundy. He used to pick me up to go to school. And when I said pick me up, he'd come by. We walked to school together. But thank goodness he was a tall, big guy. So, I didn't have too much bad effects because he was always there to protect me. You know what I mean? But anyway,
Yeah.
it was living in the area was not the best. That was because we didn't have any money. That's the hardest part because I was used to a good living as a kid,
Hmm.
farm, but we had lived well.
All right. So, you already said that you didn't really have too many problems with people being like too racist to you, but did anyone treat you like particularly like really well or really bad because of being Japanese American?
Well, not only because I was a Japanese American, it was because I was Japanese background. Yes, and again, I had the other advantage I had is I went to South High School, which that's not the best. I hate to say it this way, but the group of people from the intelligence standpoint, I don't think they're at a high income category or majority of.
Yeah.
And so they kind of treated us that way. But Uncle Dan was on a basketball team. He was a good basketball player, and so he tried out for the basketball team at South High, and he got on. So that was to my advantage. And that was Dan's kid brother, so they treated me halfway decently.
All right. Okay. So, so what did you do to? I mean, you said that you had a lot of people who helped you out and all that stuff. But what did you do to overcome all the racism and hate that people were having towards like Japanese Americans at the time?
Well, again, I had again the advantage.
Yeah.
I always came up and I said, well, if it wasn't in school, I said, your Uncle Dan, I had him on my side, and then I always could come up and say, well, my oldest brother taught the Navy people, and I had these brothers and brother-in-laws in the Army, So personally, I was really well protected from that standpoint, because I can always come back at him and I said, you got a brother in the Army? Yeah, well, I got 2 of them, or I got 4 of them.
Yeah.
So I say whatever I want them because there's 4 of them that work. And so I had that advantage.
All right. So the final question: how do you feel things improved as time went on? Like whether later in life or whether when you had Alan Sue or.
As when I had what?
So like, how do you feel things improved over time? For like between the tension at least that you've seen.
To now, you mean, or?
Yeah, to now.
Well, I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, things have improved, yes, because the people have realized that, we're, I guess the best way to put it is the Caucasians realized they were Americans. They said they were Americans, but then so was I. See, and then if they said, well, yeah, but I'm from here, so was I. And in fact, the only real American was the Native American. See? So I was, so then they realized that, hey, Ted's just like us,
Yeah.
We just come from a different part of the country. I mean, part of the world. But there's always going to be a certain number of people that they're not going to like it regardless, right?
Yeah, of course.
Just ignore them and stick around with people that. But this friend of mine, Dwayne Grundy, was always nice. He was so big.
Yeah, so it's always nice to have good friends around.
Nice to have friends like that.
Yeah. All
So,
right. Well, I think those are all the questions. Thank you so much for helping me out with this.
well, I wish I could help you more, but
Oh no, it's fine.
uh,
Yeah.
but if you could do some imagination, that's what we have to do. We use our imagination just to make things better. Because there's always going to be, even like today, there's not as many today, but there's going to be people that don't like you for whatever the reason, whether it be your religion, your background, or whatever, and you're just going to have to work with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so how have you been?
I've been good.